Hi, I'm Sushant and welcome to this online tutorial by Quest. In this tutorial, let's focus on the clinical features of hepatitis B. Hepatitis B is present in a variety of body fluids like the serum, urine, saliva and the genitourinary fluids. There are three main modes of transmission of this virus, prominent being the perinatal transmission. Other modes are percutaneous transmission and sexual transmission. There can also sometimes be a transmission in close contacts with patients who have open wounds, and in healthcare workers, there can be a nosocomial mode of transmission. In regions of the world which are the high prevalence areas like India, the commonest mode of transmission is perinatal. This perinatal mode of transmission is associated with chronicity. That means it is associated with chronic hepatitis B in up to 95% of cases. But areas which have low prevalence like the Western world, the commonest mode of transmission are sexual transmission and intravenous drug abuse, that is percutaneous transmission. That means in the Western world, most of the patients who acquire this are adults. Also, in this low prevalence area, the commonest mode of manifestation is acute hepatitis B. In fact, here less than 1% patients are going to develop chronic hepatitis B. Let us first have a look at clinical features of acute hepatitis B. Acute hepatitis B would have an incubation period of 1 to 6 months. Up to 2/3 patients are going to be asymptomatic even after this. Of those patients who develop clinical features, we can say the clinical features have two distinct stages. The first stage is that of prodrome. Here, the patient would manifest with fever, with rash and arthralgias. Most of the patients would have constitutional symptoms and anorexia. Following the prodrome would be the ictal stage where jaundice develops. Average bilirubin is going to be between 5 to 10 mg per deciliter. Also here, patient would start developing some pain or discomfort in the right hypochondrium, and the SGOT and SGPT are going to elevate it. ALT especially is going to be higher, and the average level of liver enzymes is going to be more than 500 international unit per ml. Now the good part of this is that almost all cases are going to be self-resolving in a period of 1 to 3 months. We do not actually require any specific therapy for acute hepatitis B, and only supportive care is sufficient. But in up to 0.5 to 1% of cases, patients have a risk of developing acute fulminant hepatitis. Fulminant hepatitis is if the patient develops encephalopathy within the first 8 weeks of onset of jaundice. We need to watch out for such patients because they would require liver transplantation. But moving to the bigger problem in India, it is chronic hepatitis B. When I say chronic hepatitis B, that means the inflammation should have lasted for more than 6 months. As we have already said, patients are going to acquire this infection at a neonatal stage. Now, what happens in the natural history of this patient depends on not only the virus, but also the body's immune response to this virus. Before you move ahead, please go through the section of serology of hepatitis B, which I have discussed separately. Now, let's understand that in chronic hepatitis B, once the infection has been acquired as a neonate, there are going to be 4 to 5 stages of the disease. The first stage is the stage of immune tolerance. This is a stage where the virus is replicating in the body, but the body is not mounting a significant immune response. Therefore, the viral load, which is known by the viral DNA, is going to be very high. Of course, the hepatitis B surface antigen is going to be positive, and since the virus is replicating, HBe antigen is also going to be positive. But since there is no immune response, there isn't enough destruction of the liver, so liver enzymes are going to be normal. And if I do a liver biopsy at this stage, there is going to be a mild or absent inflammation in the liver. Also, since the liver isn't inflamed, there is no hepatitis and patients are asymptomatic. Such a stage of immune tolerance usually would last from 10 to 30 years, and patients are going to be asymptomatic for all this period. But after this 10 to 30 years, patients would enter into the second stage of immune clearance. During this stage, the host immunity will start mounting up. This is going to be a predominantly T-cell mediated response, which would start destroying the liver tissue and also start controlling the virus replication. At this stage, if we do a biopsy, there is going to be necroinflammation within the liver cells. Also, serologically, there is going to be an elevation of liver enzymes, which is a marker of hepatitis. The HBV DNA levels are going to start falling. Over the next few years, because of this episodes of inflammation, patient would have clinically features of hepatitis which would fluctuate. An important part of this stage is there is going to be a control of replication of the virus. So there's going to be a seroconversion of the patient from being HBe antigen positive to being HBe antigen negative. This is going to happen at a rate of 8 to 20% per year. Now remember, the HBV virus has not been yet cleared, but its replication has been stopped. So 70 to 80% of patients now would enter into the third inactive carrier stage. Now, the third stage is known as the immune control phase or the inactive residual phase. At this phase, HBe antigen is going to be negative and eventually anti-HBe antibody is going to be positive. The body is able to control the replication of the virus, so HBV DNA titers are going to be falling to a level of less than 2000 international unit per ml. The liver inflammation has settled, so the ALT levels are normal. And if I do a biopsy, there are not significant findings of necroinflammation at this stage. The body is now in full control and the immunity is doing well. Now, how long does this immune control phase last and what happens after that is variable. The best thing to happen after that would be, now that the HBe antigen is gone, we would want to lose the HBs antigen. Remember, the HBs antigen is a marker of the virus. So loss of HBs antigen is actually cure. But this would happen in a very few number of cases. To be very precise, this is going to be in 0.1 to 2% of cases. Even these patients, we can call them cured, but remember, the covalently closed circular DNA or cccDNA will still persist. So this is actually labeled as the occult hepatitis B stage, and we are not yet sure in science what is the meaning of this. They are probably cured, but we still need to watch them. But most cases wouldn't go there. Most cases after the third stage would actually become HBe antigen negative, but would start developing now quasi-species of hepatitis B virus. These are variants of the virus who have mutations in the pre-core region or the basal core promoter region. These viruses now are still able to replicate while being HBe antigen negative. This is the stage of escape phase or hepatitis B e antigen negative hepatitis phase. At such cases, patients will continue to have HBV DNA proliferation and would remain at risk of cirrhosis and hepatocellular carcinoma. We need to watch out for these cases and treat them accordingly. To summarize the clinical features of hepatitis B, we have said that if the onset is in neonatal period, patients would develop chronic hepatitis B. If the onset is in adults, patients would develop acute hepatitis B. Acute hepatitis B is self-resolving and has a prodrome followed by icteric features. But chronic hepatitis B goes from initial asymptomatic phase to a later symptomatic phase and again an asymptomatic phase. But in chronic hepatitis B, serology is important to diagnose the stages. Sometimes biopsies are required, and we need to watch out for complications of cirrhosis and hepatocellular carcinoma. Thank you and Jai Hind.